If you just go down and go, okay, I'll just pretend to understand what she's going through. You've got to get her to talk and listen to the things that are bothering her. And you're going to suffer because every cell in your body is going to say, but it's not that important, but what are you getting upset about? But it's not true. You just think, okay, what she's feeling is like what I'm feeling right now, having to listen to her. So she deserves a lot of empathy. Okay? That was a little trick I used to do. Because I go, why is she making a big deal out of this? Well, me listening to it is difficult. Why am I making a big deal out of that? Another Venusian would relish the opportunity to hear all this. So what we have to do is go down with her when she's down. And to remember this well thing, when a woman goes down, think of businessmen here. When do you want to buy real estate? When the prices go down, that's where you put your energies in. Not when they go up. You do it when it's down. When a woman is down, that's when you want to give her the most love. I see most men don't do that. When their wives are down, he figures, oh, she's in a bad mood. I'll wait till she's in a good mood and bring her flowers. Okay? Then I'll get a response. Why should I? And he might even see she's in trouble a little bit and do something, get no response, because when she's in the well, she has no ability to give love. That's what you have to know. She can't give love, but she keeps score. There's like a little scorekeeping thing going on. He's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing... And once you've done enough, she's out of the well. She goes, what a great guy he is. And she remembers all the good stuff he does. And you get credit for all those things you did, which maybe for days it seemed like you're getting no credit, no credit, no credit. But once she's out of the well, then you get double credit because you were there when she had nothing to give. This is the time you give to a woman. When she has nothing to give. See, if she's in a good mood, well, everybody's going to give to her then. When she's not in a good mood, that's when you come over and you console her. You affection, you put your arm around, you give her a hug, you help out with a few things here and there. You don't desert her at that time. And most men think this is the time to go because you're not getting anything, so I'll leave her in her cave. Because if we're in a bad mood and we have nothing to give, what do we want? We want you to leave us alone. We want to be left alone. She doesn't want to be left alone. So we speak different languages when it comes to this. She needs, he's not available, or he's trying to help and she's in the well and she can't appreciate him. These are hard things. When I'm going through a hard time, I get frustrated, I give up. Where do I go? I go to my cave. But in my cave, fortunately, there's a copy of my book, or there's a video, or there's a tape, or I go off and teach a seminar or whatever. And that information is there. And so what happens, as I start to forget the problem, start to remember what's important to me, as my heart starts to become a little more loving, then I start to remember, oh, women are from Venus. She was in her well. I was Mr. Mars, trying to pull her out. Fatal mistake. That's why she got so upset with me. That's why I got so bummed out. Okay, what can I do about it differently? How can I try something else? Okay, I'm going to try this a little differently. And I come back out and I try it a little differently, and it starts to work better. Then next time, it works easier and easier, and then I forget. What we have to know is that our instincts are built in. They don't just change because you take this seminar. They're built in. To learn a new behavior, to learn anything new, takes 200 repetitions. If you don't have 200 repetitions, you have short-term memory. Short-term memory is like, hi, what's your name? Somebody says, John. I go, oh, I'll remember that. That's real easy to understand. That's my name. I'll remember that. And I tell you, it's true. 15 minutes later, who was that person? I forget. How many people know short-term memory? Okay? It just happens. Some people are really good with names, but most people, or a lot of people, they really see short-term memory there. Long-term memory is when you repeat something over and over and over and over. What happens is neural connectors actually grow in the brain. Short-term memory is simply a chemical reaction. And once the reaction is done, memory's gone. But if you repeat that over and over and over, you actually grow the neural connectors. People remember names. They have a lot of repetitions at a certain time, and then when they hear a name, they relate it to another one, and it's easier because they've already grown those neural connectors. Other people don't have that, but they can develop it. So they have those memory courses or whatever. Well, it's the same thing here. To remember these things, it's going to take 200 repetitions. That means 200 times. It's not going to work. You're going to go off, feel like it's hopeless, it doesn't work, and then, if you're lucky, you're going to go, oh, well, maybe that was a Venusian thing, or maybe that's a Martian thing. How do men think? How do women think? How can I make sense of this? Let me make sense of this. Let me try something differently, and boom, it works. And I'll tell you, men, right here, the power of communication with a woman, if you learn to do this, let her talk, and when you make those mistakes, you can make mistakes. You don't have to be perfect in a relationship. Just come back to, you know, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake. Now, this is hard for men to do because we don't like to advertise our mistakes. We want to be right. Men love to be right. They need to be right. Women don't fall in love with men who are wrong all the time. We need to be right. But what happens when you tell a woman, I made a mistake, guess what? You get to be right. Because she knows you made a mistake. So if you say, I made a mistake, she'll go, you're right. And you get to be right. Nobody ever teaches. I never saw my dad say, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And mom go, you're right. You're a great guy. I mean, right there, love will start to flow if the first thing you do is you go, I made a mistake. And then you pause. And then you say, I'm sorry. Now, with a lot of feeling, a little feeling, whatever, you just say the words. Now, women say, why don't men say they're sorry? I'll tell you why men don't say they're sorry. On Mars, we say we're sorry all the time. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake. The other guy's, okay, you made the mistake. I'm right, you're wrong. All right, everything's fine. See, men make up right away if somebody apologizes. Somebody says, I'm sorry, it means I made the mistake. I'm wrong, you're right. The guy goes, great. It's like two guys fighting. The other guy going, uncle, okay, done. I won, you lost. That's all he wants to do is win. Okay? You say, I won, that's it. I don't want to hurt you anymore. Okay? I don't make me right. So a guy will, there'll be something going on. A guy will finally come to a woman and say, okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. He expects you to go, okay, you're wrong, I'm right, everything's fine. Women don't have that reaction. You say to a woman, okay, I'm really sorry. She goes, huh, you don't even know what you're sorry for. I'm going to let you know. Or she'll say, oh, sure you're sorry. See, men have this expectation from Mars that if we say we're sorry, end of conversation. On Venus, you say you're sorry, you've just paid your dues to begin the conversation. So it's a whole new way of saying you're sorry, the ways it work. You say, I made a mistake. So you consider it. You say, I made a mistake. And I want you to know, whenever she's unhappy, you made a mistake. Just know that's true. Okay? Whenever she's unhappy, you made a mistake. Because the truth is, had you known everything I'm teaching, better than me even, you would have anticipated, you would have done this, and that wouldn't have happened. And we all know that. We all make mistakes. We just don't like to say we made a mistake. But just to get right here, grok it, in this moment. Anytime she's unhappy, I made a mistake somewhere. Don't know what it is, I made a mistake. So you can at least go, I made a mistake. The next thing is you think in your head, she's hurting, she's not happy. Are you happy that she's hurting? No. Are you sorry she's hurting? Yes. You say, I'm sorry. Don't expect her to go, okay, everything's finished. You have to release the expectation and know that you just say the words because you can't proceed in this apology if you don't say I'm sorry. Because you can do everything right from this point on, but if you don't say I'm sorry, she'll say, you didn't even say you're sorry. So even though I'm sorry really doesn't have an immediate result, you still have to say it because it's slowly opening her up. It's beginning the process of forgiveness. So I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And you pause. There's 3 things you can say. They all work, but you have to consider them, and it has to come from your truth. But I want you to know it's always true. You made a mistake. Sorry. Or I like to say, I'm really sorry. I pause. I was really inconsiderate. Oh, now he sees his ways. He was inconsiderate. Now, what man has a hard time saying I was inconsiderate? See, we're not raised to be considerate. Our self-esteem isn't based on being sensitive to everybody's feelings. Actually, to a certain extent, we got to go out there and be tough and not worry about anybody's feelings. Achieve, go, win, lose, all that stuff. So it doesn't hurt his self-esteem. What you have to know, men, is it blows her away. The hardest apology a woman could ever make is to say, you know, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, I was inconsiderate. Because women go out of their way all the time. I want to be considerate. What does he eat? What does he like? What do I do here? See, they're all the time trying to be considerate. So if a woman says, I was inconsiderate, it's a real big apology. It's easy for a man to say it. And it has the effect she needs to hear. So this is one of the words. I'm giving you 3. One is, made a mistake. Sorry. I was really inconsiderate. That's the first. The next one is, you know, I thought about what just happened, what we talked about, or what happened. And you see, I thought about it. And I realized I was insensitive. Ooh, he's starting to become enlightened. He realizes, okay. Because see, the truth is, and women see the truth, if you are insensitive, there's no way you'll ever become more sensitive to what she needs if you don't realize I was insensitive. And most men don't realize the magic of that phrase. We are like a bull in a china shop. When it comes to Venus, we're out there knocking everything over, particularly when she's in a well, when her feelings are coming on. There's no shame and not knowing what to do. We haven't been taught this. You're going to fail at this again and again, but what you can learn is how to come out of it. When you make, I driving on the freeway, my wife's talking, I said, well, we got to do this, don't worry about that. I go, oh, I'm being real. We can have other clever ways, you know. I think I'm being a little too Martian here. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's start the whole conversation over. Or if it is something that bothers her, you know, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I was inconsiderate. I was insensitive. Or here's another one. You know, I was really selfish. Oh. How many women can relate to liking these comments? Raise your hands so the guys can see. See, what a woman thinks is he was so big. It was so big of him to say that. Because the worst thing, for example, you could ever say to a woman is, you know, honey, you are so selfish. Her self-esteem will collapse and cave in. But you know what happens to a man? You say, you know what? I hate you so much. You are selfish. The guy would just go, well, maybe, maybe not, but how do you get ahead in life? You know, it doesn't like... You know, it's just kind of like days. It bounces off armor, you know. It's just like... And you know how I understood this? Is one time this woman was really unhappy with her husband, and I watched him just destroy him in the counseling session. She says, you never do this, and you don't do that, and you could have done that, and you didn't think this, and how could you do this, and you said this. And she just was critical of the things he did, and the guy was wiped out. So I asked him to leave. I said, let's stop, time out. And I said, do you realize that you're really hurting your husband? And she said, what? I'm trying to be mean. I'm just telling him what he didn't do and what he did. I said, what if you were to be really, really mean? What are the things you're not saying? What would be the meanest thing you could say to him? She said, well, I'll tell you the meanest thing I could say. I could say, you are so insensitive. You're completely inconsiderate. You're totally selfish. I said, try that. Brought him back in. I said, you know, your wife's been having all these feelings, and I know it was hard to hear it, but I'm teaching her another way to do it, and I want to see how it affects you. And she says, you know, I completely hate you. You're mean, you're insensitive, you're inconsiderate, and you're selfish. He goes, oh, you know, sometimes I am, you know. It was nothing. Can any men relate to that? You know, it's just, see, we got armor. We got armor for certain things. We don't have armor for others. If you correct our behavior, you tell us what we did wrong, that wipes us out. But if you use negative adjectives to describe us, like mean, insensitive, uncaring, inconsiderate, just a few simple ones. It's like, well, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. Let me think about this. It would just cause them to think. It's like I saw this very clearly, how dependent I am on my wife to enjoy my life. Some people are like, oh, that's codependence. I go, ridiculous. That's Martian. I work all day. I work hard. I'm focused, stressed. I come home. I'm in a hurry. I do lots of stuff. I come home. My wife is happy to see me, and we have some nice interchange. I notice I'm starting to breathe deeper. I start looking around and realize, wow, we live in a beautiful neighborhood. There are colors in this world. There are many men that don't even see colors. They don't even taste. They're just rushing, because they don't experience the sweet success of serving someone and having them to give love. When a woman loves a man, it helps him come to his feelings. Not getting him to talk, appreciating the things he does. That's how you love him. But how does a woman appreciate a man? Only if he takes that first step. It's up to us men. It's up to us men to open that door for her so she can love. It used to be women supported each other during the day. And he supported her in his job. That made her feel supported so she could be loving. Women don't have that anymore. They're out there providing for themselves. They need you to give them a little nurturing. And they come back to themselves as women, and they'll give you all the nurturing you could ever want. All that love comes forth. But you have to pay the price. And the price is doing some things. It requires some effort, requires some changes, but it doesn't mean changing who you are. Let's say she wants to talk, and you need to be in your cave. Say, I really want to have this conversation, and I need to spend some time alone, and then we'll talk. And you walk away. Because you need to spend time alone, because you know if you try to have this conversation when you need to spend time alone, you won't be there for her. The whole time you're going to become annoyed and irritated and whatever. And sometimes I'll be having a conversation with my wife, and I notice I'm drifting, or I notice I'm becoming irritable, or I'm not interested. I say to her, you know, I just need to spend some time alone, and then let's have this conversation. And I walk away. Now she knows he's a Martian. He'll come back. We'll have the conversation. I'll get what I need. He knew his limits. And this is a very important thing with communication. Honesty and knowing our limits. It used to be when we were first married, I'd want to go out with the guys. I'd say, honey, I'm going to go out with the guys. It happened on a particular trip to L.A. We were moving her aunt up to where we live in Northern California. And we spent 7 days together moving her aunt, getting all her things together because she was getting old. We can bring her up and take care of her. We're still taking care of her. But it was a huge thing to move somebody from one town to another with all their things, and the aunt wasn't doing anything. She was in a bed at that time. She's now walking. But at that time, and Bonnie, I have to say, did most of it. I mean, I'm there moving trucks and all this stuff, but she was just enmeshed and handling all these things. But we were together for 7 days. We got home. The first thing I wanted to do was go to the movies with my friends. I said, I'm going to go to the movies, and I'll see you later. And she said, I didn't say it that way. I was a little bit nicer. Honey, I'd like to go out with the guys tonight. I hope that's okay with you. And she goes, you want to go out with the guys? Don't you want to be with me? We haven't had any time together at all. And now, part of me said, what do you mean we haven't had any time together? We've just spent 7 days together. I need time away. Unfortunately, I didn't say that. But I said, you know, I'd really like to go out with the guys. And now what she really meant was, when we said we haven't had any time together, we haven't had any quality time together where we're not taking care of somebody else, we're taking care of each other. It's just one-on-one, loving each other, being together. But I knew I needed my cave time activities with the guys before I could come back and give to her what she needed. So I remember saying, no, I think I really need to go out with the guys, but tomorrow we'll spend quality time together. And I left. And her reaction when I left was, we'll see. Okay? And her feelings were hurt and everything, but I had to do it. Because I know I've been in relationships before where I'd say the same thing, I want to go out with the guys, and the woman would say, what, you don't want to be with me? I go, okay, I want to be with you, I'll stay home. And the truth is, I didn't want to be there, and she knew I didn't want to be there, and so no real quality time was achieved. So the next night when I want to go out, but we still haven't had real time together. So I have to know how to create real time together. And real time means where your attention is fully on her and your heart is open. And it's just not going to be that way all the time. So I said, I'm going to go out. And I made sure the next day that I arranged the dinner. I got a babysitter. I arranged the dinner. We went out. We had that special night. So she experienced the truth of this. Now if I say, you know, I really need to go out with the guys. We'll do something special tomorrow. She says, great. Because she trusts. She knows I will really do that. But she needs some experience of that really working. But had I just been like the nice guy and tried to make her happy in that moment, okay, I'll stay home, it wouldn't have worked. It would have just gone mush. See, men need to have that time away. So, in terms of understanding our language differences, there's so many different ways that we tend to just misinterpret each other, what we mean, what's most important. And as we have a deeper, fundamental understanding of what's really important to her, what's really important to him, then we tend to not misinterpret each other as much. But we are going to misinterpret each other at least 200 times after this night. And then if you correct it and you come back, then you'll start having conversations where truly men can understand women, women can understand men. But it won't happen unless we practice with it. And we're entering into a new era where it is possible for passion to stay in a marriage. And I just want to make this point. Never in history has passion ever been linked to marriage. Hollywood did that. They made it up, but it's not real. Never happened before. Romeo and Juliet, they passionately fall in love, they die. Passion dies. It doesn't last. And now suddenly we all have this expectation of passion. We want it to last, and guess what? It can if we change the rules of relationships. And those rules are changing now. The circumstances are there. We have to take the first step, which we talked about today, which is improving communication. After we take that step, there's a few more, and then passion will last. Those steps are good communication, the next step is romance, and the next step is cooperation. In that order. And we'll be moving through those in the rest of the course. Thank you very much.